Across cultures, transfer of wealth at marriage has long taken many forms. We begin by tracing the earliest records and meanings attached to dowry practices. In some societies, dowries functioned as inheritance, in others as a household foundation or a form of social alliance between families. Medieval records, travel diaries, and legal texts document varied practices. Gifts from parents, negotiated payments, and symbolic tokens that signified bonds. Religious and economic factors shaped dowry customs. In some regions, religious law guided expectations. In others, dowries reflected agricultural or trade wealth. Key historical dates changed practice. Colonial encounters, legal reforms, and economic shifts often redirected how dowries were given and perceived. Understanding origins helps us see dowries not as a single custom but as diverse, evolving responses to family, property, and social order. Across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, dowry practices took distinct local forms shaped by kinship, economy, and custom. In South Asia, dowry often involved household goods and cash, sometimes negotiated across extended families as part of marriage arrangements. In parts of Europe, dowry traditions included dowers and jointure systems that secured a bride's future status and property rights. Among some African cultures, dowry practices emphasize livestock, land rights, or symbolic payments that reinforce clan ties and obligations. Indigenous and colonized communities adapted and resisted external pressures, creating hybrid practices that blended tradition and change. Regional variation shows dowries function differently, as safety nets, status markers, or instruments of alliance depending on context. Dowry practices influence social relations, marriage negotiations, and the economic standing of families in both subtle and profound ways. For many women, dowries can shape life choices, affecting dowry-bearing families and often reinforcing gendered expectations. At times, dowry demands have led to economic strain, legal disputes, or social pressure that communities and policymakers have sought to address. Conversely, dowries sometimes provided financial security for brides, enabling household formation or investment in livelihoods. Scholars emphasize nuance. Consequences vary by class, region, and legal framework. What is harm in one context is support in another. Respectful interviews with community members reveal personal stories that illuminate both dignity and difficulty around dowry customs. Legal responses have ranged from regulation and prohibition to protection of dowry-derived rights depending on national context. Some countries enacted anti-dowry laws to curb exploitative practices and protect women from coercion and violence. Other legal frameworks recognize dowry transfers as property matters, requiring careful balancing of contractual rights and social welfare. Human rights organizations call for interventions that protect individuals while respecting cultural contexts and community agency. Implementation challenges persist. Laws may exist on paper while social norms and enforcement vary widely in practice. Dialogue between lawmakers, community leaders, and rights advocates remains central to fair, effective approaches to dowry-related issues. Communities continue to negotiate tradition and change, preserving meaningful practices while challenging harmful elements. Documentation and archival preservation allow future generations to study rights, meanings, and adaptations without judgment. Education, economic opportunity, and legal clarity help communities choose practices that respect dignity and protect rights. Listening to personal testimonies reveals how dowries intersect with aspiration, obligation, and family care in real lives. Preserving cultural memory while promoting equitable practices requires sensitive, locally led initiatives and measured reform. We close with an invitation to study, listen, and engage with communities so that tradition and justice can continue to be reconciled.